Good morning and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay on today. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm, okay? So, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of those good things, okay? I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you so much. All of my old subscribers, all of my new subscribers, all of my future subscribers. I appreciate you so much. If you don't have a membership, go ahead and sign up for the membership, okay? I wanted to talk about taking out young Dolph seems to have set off the crime rate in Memphis, okay? I'm born and raised in Memphis, okay? So I've come through all of the eras, okay? And I think this has to be the worst ever. Even in the 80s, the crack era, when we went through that era, and I'm sure everybody around my age remembers the crack era. It started breaking up the African American families. But even still, what we started to see relatives. Because I had relatives to get on crack, not like cousins, and seen a few aunts and uncles, right? And what we started to see is their appearance started to change. They stopped caring about themselves. They would steal, right? But they still had love and respect for their family. They just did not have love and respect for themselves, right? We didn't see people getting on crack and misusing kids sexually. Okay. That was something that happened if it was already in the person. Okay. That's the reason why I say when you see these folks, they say, well, I got drunk and no, nigga, that's just in you use a pedo. Okay. And so then went through the 90s. I think the 90s was really bad. Crime got out of control. Okay. But there was a formula. And even with crime being out of control, people still had respect and for human life at some point, right? They still had respect for their elders and things of that nature. They still had respect for the police. So, fast forward to the late 90s, we started to see some things change, but it still was not as bad. In the late 90s, all of what we're seeing now, the kids that we're seeing now that's being sent out to be hitmen, that don't care about life, around the late 90s, these children were being born. And it's weird because they were being born to people that's my age now, right? And so that means that their mid 40s, they came from another era. They came from my era where they know a lot of the stuff that's happening. We just did not do, right? You know. So then we started to get to the 2000s. Hey, these kids were still babies. They were still being born. We really started to see around, like, hey, whenever that era when that Black Lives Matter movement, I think it really started. I don't know. You have to think about when movements like this is born and we don't know who it is that created it, but it's all over the media. It's really being funded, but you see black faces, but the money is coming from other. Okay. You have to watch that, right? And so then that's when they started talking about defunding the police and things of that nature. I mean, it's like it just spread like wildfire, and I never thought that I would see. But I guess I should have known because people have always really just been able to hijack the black community and make a fool out of black people, right? It bothers me so much because I do have a real deep love for my community, and so like even with the stuff that's going on in Memphis, like I when I speak about Memphis, I speak from a place of hurt because I do have a love for all the communities because I've been, in all of those communities, even if I didn't hang out. Like North Memphis, I didn't hang out in North Memphis, but I've been around North Memphis. My dad grew up in North Memphis, right? A lot of his relatives on his father's side is still over there. I'm not close to them, but they're still over there, right? And like when I start to meet them, I go, dog, like everybody chocolate, got them high cheekbones, got that curly hair, like everybody looks alike. I'm like, dog, got the same last name. I'm like, everybody in North Memphis got my last name, that's got my last name. I think we related because my grandfather had like 7 brothers. And so I get to thinking about, how out of control it is, right? And I never seen anything like I've seen before. And I know it started getting bad. Crime was out of control. That Black Lives Matter movement, I have my suspicions about, okay? Even though I feel like there are a lot of people that got into that movement for the right reason. Okay. They got into it for the right reason, but the people that started to create that movement and fund that movement, it was not for the right reasons, right? Okay. So then we started seeing it like in Missouri. Have to think about Missouri was real bad too. When a lot of stuff was going on. I think that Black Lives Matters movement was birthed in Missouri. Okay. We seen it in New Orleans when it was the murder capital. Like, I mean, we just started to see a lot of stuff, right? And there was crime in Memphis, but it does not seem like to me that it really got this out of control until Young Dolph was taken out, right? And so I can remember when Young Dolph was taken out. I'm honest. I'm the first to say, when I looked on the Facebook and I saw a lot of my Facebook friends, because even one of my Facebook friends was out there, right? Um, and she was at the tire shop over by where Young Dolph was taken out at. And I remember her posting, she was like, y'all, these folks out here for Dolph. I have to say, I had not really listened to his music. I can remember a lady who was running for district attorney, and we were supporting her. Okay, her name was Linda. She's an attorney, but she was running for district attorney. At first, Steve Mulroy she's a black lady, was supporting her, and then he decided to get in the race. They talked him into getting into the race and going against her, right? And so, anyways, I remember calling Linda, and she was sniffing, and she was like, "Are you calling me about Young Dolph?" I was like, no, I was calling you about something else." She was like, "They just called me and told me they just took out Young Dolph." I mean, and she was crying. This is a black lady. She said, "I just, and from my understanding, her kids were very big fans of, even though they're adults, they were very big fans of Young Dolph. And, just with the way he was taken out, I mean, she was bawling on the phone, right? And so then I can remember one of my friends who, does some investigative work with me. We were working this case from out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. So she arrived from Missouri, okay? And we were sitting in my house, okay? And we were supposed to go to Pine Bluff, Arkansas the next day. And my my house shook, my living room shook. And I was like, because I mean, I was like, did somebody just hit my door? And so we found out, that it was later on that it was an earthquake, right? And that was the night that Young Dolph was taken out. And I started to become very, very interested in the case because it had to have just been God, right? It had to have just been God that made me very interested in the case. And of course, I have quite a few friends, because I worked for the police department forever. So when they have get-togethers and stuff. And that was really that was the topic, especially in the very beginning, right? And that's the reason why I'm able to say very early on, they knew exactly where it came from. They knew the direction of where it came from. They're not oblivious to anything. And I gotta say, that's the reason why I say, y'all, all law enforcement is not the same, right? Because you have some dedicated people. Now, everybody that was speaking about the Young Dolph case that's in law enforcement is not on the case, right? They're only investigators, that are assigned to homicides. That team that's working that case. And then and then I said from the very beginning, the federal agents was on the case. People try to say I didn't know what I was talking about. So okay, whatever. Okay. um and a lot of people, can take that personal, right? What happened to young Dolph. But it seems like it set off something within the city of Memphis, because it seems like it has just been completely deadly since then. And that's one of the reasons why I go so hard on some of the people who was involved in this, that people know that was involved in this. And I don't back down, because they know that they was involved. The police know that they were involved, right? And they're not going to get out of it. It's going to catch up with them. It has already caught up with them, right? But there's going to be retribution for young Dolph one way or the other. And it won't be the other. It's going to be one way, right? And so then, I remember my mom calling me. She said, "You see, they say they killed that boy that rap in that over there at that cookie shop on Airways." I said, "Yeah, I see that." She said, "They killed that boy over there. What is wrong with people?" I said, I don't know. I remember my mama saying that just as clear as day. She said, "Lord have mercy." And so then Chief Davis, I ended up spending the night with my mom that night. And I remember Chief Davis, saying, if you don't have to get out, don't go out. Me working for the police department, I know they didn't want to send pandemonium and tell people of all of the situations that was going on, like all of the shootings and all of I mean, it started that night, and it seems like it just has not stopped. Okay. So that's why when people were sitting up talking about Memphis ain't did this, Memphis ain't did that, I don't condone violence. But if you ain't in Memphis, you can't say nothing about what happened that night, because it was World War III. And that's the reason why Chief Davis was told to get on there and say, if you ain't got to go outside, don't go. Okay. Ask the people in South Memphis. I got folks up there. When folks were saying, "Oh, that it wasn't like what they were saying. It wasn't nothing going on in South Memphis." Them folks said, "We tired of this." People were dropping like crazy. And that's what pisses me off about some of these rappers, right? That send these folks out to do this stuff. They go back to their mansions, and they couldn't give a damn about the little dudes that was dropping around the Macmillan area. You had a guy, especially when it first happened, to get on here, and I mean, he was coming at me and he was lying. Okay. But he was like, you don't care. You on the other side. You don't care about all these bodies that's been dropping. How could he say that? I did care. I knew. I cared. Okay, I did care. If you talk to my best friend who lives around that area, they experienced that firsthand. She'll tell you that it was bad, and and the first thing she'll say is, "Best friend, it's a lot worse than what they said," because I was right in the midst of that. It was a lot worse. It was a lot of people hurt. I don't know who was doing it, but it was some folks hurt when that happened to young Dolph, right? Okay. So I think people feel like, well, if it did happen to young Dolph, cause Yo Gotti and them still breathing. Well, that's the reason why I don't like Key Glock. Where y'all go do it? It's a lot of people that made enough money off of the case, just lying on blogging on it to go. Why don't they go do it if they want Yo Gotti gone, right? But I just, hey, it seems like to me that taking him out seemed to have set off the crime rate. And I was praying last night, right before when I got off the live. I was so tired. I was getting ready to fall in the bed, and God told me fall to your knees first, because I always said I'm not, because I get tired sometimes. I be too tired to get on my knees and pray, and I said I was gonna stop that. I'll never be too tired to pray. And so when I got up, I was laying in the bed, and this hit me. It's not going to get any better until there is justice for young Dolph. And I would never say that young Dolph has a destructive spirit or anything like that. But God says that he's a God of vengeance. And I'm not talking about innocent people that are being taken down or anything like that. I'm talking about even with the leadership. Now, folks try to say, that I be trying to protect the police. People don't know me. Y'all don't know nothing about me that say that, because I've had a TV show for 10 years where I spoke about corruption within politics, right? And it ain't everybody, where people have to be very meticulous about who you put into office and things of that nature. And when folks sit up and talk about the police don't make laws. Police officers are law enforcement officers. What they have to do is enforce the law that the politicians that y'all, because a lot of people don't know anything about their government, are putting into place. They can't violate that. These police making these laws. Police don't make no damn laws. Okay. So if people want something done about these criminals, what you're going to have to do is start looking at your lawmakers, which would probably be your Congress, your senators, your governors and things of that nature, your state representatives that represent you. You have to start looking at these people, right? Okay, making sure that funding is when it comes into the city council and the mayor and the commissioners are allocating those funds to make sure that there are safer communities. Okay, your district attorney is not just giving everybody a get out of jail free pass. It seemed like when he got into it had gotten bad, but when he got into office, it got worse. Okay, and I thought Mo was gonna do the darn thing, right? But I still believe that he's a part of the plan to to uh for crime to be so out of control so that they can start sending people to the death chair, because that's what started putting into the atmosphere. But all you got to do is hold their feet to the fire and make them do their time and stop letting them out, right? But it seems like, since, taking him out, it completely has the city of Memphis completely off of balance, right? And you have to think about when there's a demonic force released into the atmosphere, and it has brought a lot of attention to the city. Now, that could be a good and a bad thing. That could be like a double-edged sword, right? So with a lot of eyes on the young Dolph's case, right? Even when you got people lying and stuff like that, blogging on it, knowing that they're telling a lie to try and derail the case, it still could be a good thing, because whether they know it or not, because God says, I'll make your enemies your footstool. Okay. Whether they know it or not, they're keeping attention on the case. And when you keep attention on a case, it makes the folks have to do what they need to do, because they know people are watching them. On the other hand, you still have a lot of people that's hoping for there to be mayhem in Memphis so that they can make money off of it, right? Ain't praying for Memphis, nothing. Let us see what Memphis got going on so we can vlog about it and see what kind of numbers we can get. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about that demonic force, right? And that's the reason why I say, people have to, especially the Memphians, have to really pray for the city, because there has been a demonic force released into the atmosphere, right? A lot of confusion, a lot of mayhem, and all of that. But you know, hey, I think because when people are comfortable with doing stuff, right? When people are comfortable with doing stuff, and I think that's one of the reasons that this happened to young Dolph. It's just one of the reasons, because people was comfortable with just committing all kinds of mayhem and murder and getting away with it, right? And so when they did that to him, there has not only has it been a bad force released into the atmosphere, but I believe that there's a good force that's fighting with the demonic forces. You have to know the devil don't want to, when the devil is used to dominating the territory, they don't go out without a fight. But we already know that good always overrides evil. Light is going to always outshine darkness, right? And so that's the reason why I always say, and I know with a lot of certainty, okay, that young Dolph will get justice in totality. And so that's the reason why I'm always preaching about, y'all, stop taking crumbs to try and confuse people, you know. And even if people are taking, well, even when people take, not are, because they, you know, when people take crumbs to try and confuse people, I always tell folks, well, always, you know, have on your spiritual antennas and stuff up, so that people won't be able to penetrate all of that negative untruthfulness into your spirit. That's the reason why I started telling people, if I tell you something, it is because I've heard it from somebody credible, and you go listen to somebody else who has been put on here to trick you, okay? And then it drains your spirit, and then they come back to me for me to feel them and reassure them again. I said, I can't keep doing that because I done told you, okay? Because people would do that. You will fill them up and give them hope because of you know, you've heard some credible stuff, and then they'll go listen to some demonic force, okay, and then they'll come back. Well, can you reassure me? You let that spirit penetrate you, that evil spirit, and now you want to bring it back to me for me to refill you. I can't do that. Because I done told you, and I done told you what's going on with some of these folks, right? But it seems like a force has been released, and when they did that to young Dolph, because you have to understand now, you know, especially since Steve Moroy is into office, these young dudes, they don't care. They feel like, oh, okay, well, ain't nothing gonna happen, you know. We just gonna start taking out everybody. But even before that, because you know, even around 2022, it was bad. It was real bad. But I think this year has been one of the worst years, y'all. It just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And that is because the devil knows that his time is near. These devils that had people to do this to him, right? So what they're doing is they're keeping chaos going. They're using other folks' children and sending them out, right? People that ain't got, these little dudes that ain't, or girls that ain't got no guidance, because you know, I was told that it's you know, a young girl that's caught up in this young Dolph situation. That's what I was told, okay, that was out there. And it all goes back to, you know, these girls that have children and things of that nature are not being taught that no man, okay, that truly cares about you is going to ask you to do anything that could affect your livelihood or get you taken away from your children for the rest of your life or for a big part of their life, because folks don't treat your kids like you do, right? And then what happens? Either the guy try to save themselves or he end up getting taken out, and you done did this for him and he gone on. Either way, right? But it seems like, okay, that this young Dolph, them taking young Dolph out has just set off a really bad spirit into the city of Memphis. And it ain't gonna get no better until there's justice in totality. And you know, I'm so happy that Mia J had gotten on her vlog to let them know we watching, and he got any funny stuff going on. Because see, you know, hey, I've always said I feel like, you know, with Straight Drop Attorney, he wanted to bluff Judge Coffee, but I truly believe that they had another rabbit in their hat. They didn't want for Judge. They was hoping that the appellate court would go with what Judge Coffee did, not remove him, because they really could have filed a whole lot of stuff. Okay, and probably could have got his case thrown out at some point, right? But what the appellate court did was they cut all of that at the knees, right? So God does everything for a reason. And so it's been people getting up, fasting and praying and agreeing. God ain't get ready to let whatever the devil thought. It ain't, it's always gonna work out for those that are right, and what and not for those that are wrong. And what is wrong is they never should have taken him out, right? And so we're seeing all of this mayhem because when the devil knows his time is up, he starts to release confusion into the atmosphere. You got people that's paying folks to go and take folks out, and they mad because they don't want to go down without a fight, but their time is up. And so what they should have did was they should not have ever messed with him, right? They should not have ever messed with him. They should have just left him alone, right? But this is something that they did, and it pisses me off because you're talking about a bunch of older guys that I know better. Okay. They just had to take him. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was asking them about some people because they know some of these people. And I said, "Do you think they feel bad about what they did to young Dolph?" And then a person got quiet and said, "Nah, I don't think they feel bad. It was just one of those situations where they hated him so bad, they felt like he had to go. They just hate that it has been as messy as it is, but I don't think they're gonna think or feel bad about it until all of them taken down. And then I think when it'll start to they'll start to feel like it wasn't worth it. Because at this point they feel like, well, everybody else gonna go down that we paid, it ain't gonna touch us, even though they know it's touching them. They know the folks know they was involved, right? But it's a darn shame to release that kind of demonic force into the atmosphere just because they felt like somebody had to go because they was really hating on them. And then they have gotten so many people taken out behind it because they dangle money in their faces because they don't know no, they know better, but they just, I don't know, messed up and at their lowest and doing anything. And so every time you look at somebody like Cornelius, you see like the regret in his face. Okay. You see the regret in his face. Okay. And, you know, um, I think he's realizing now, especially him and some of the others, that it wasn't worth it. Right. And so what they got to do is they got to make sure that they keep Straight Drop amped up, even though Straight Drop had to sit in that cell. Okay, he has to sit in that cell and he has to think about a lot of stuff. And I bet if he had to do it all over again, he would do it differently. I bet you he wouldn't have did it. You know why? Because Straight Drop didn't hate Dolph enough to take him out. He didn't. Okay? He was gassed up and used. Okay? And so that's the reason why it pisses me off with a lot of these older people, and these older people got kids that are the exact same ages as Straight Dropping them. Okay. And what they did was when them with they old behinds got together and manipulated a bunch of young dudes that's young enough to be, and girls, okay, that was young enough, but the girls were more than likely, the girls were by way of the dudes, okay, that they wanted to be down with, okay. But what they did was they helped to release a very demonic force into the atmosphere, okay. And I just don't think it's going to get any better until there's justice in totality, and it will be that, because we serve a mighty good God. Okay. And it all goes back to what I always say. God says, when I get them back for what they did, you're going to see me get them back. Aren't we witnessing the get back? Everything, including the judge. He meant it for bad, but God says, I'm going to make it good. Yeah, Judge Coffee, I feel like Judge Coffee was very, he tried to be very fair. Straight Drop's attorney wanted to intimidate him. Okay. He thought he was pro the prosecutor. Okay. But God says, I'm gonna make it for my good, right? I'm gonna make it for your good. So even when the devil think that they have won or they've made some traction, God says, I'm gonna turn it around and make it for your good. You got a woman sitting up there that's got children, okay, that understands. And then you're gonna have a jury, even though they got vloggers on here trying to jury tamper, it is still ain't gonna work. God says, because I'm gonna make it for your good. And if some of these people that's so driven by money, to include some of these vloggers that's working for them, if they really believed in God, they jump off of the bandwagon, okay? Because they understand that they just can't win, okay? Because God has his people everywhere. And because Memphis has to be cleaned up, okay? And it has to happen, okay? Then every one of them gonna go down. God is using folks right now to turn the guilt, eating them alive, and they turning and working on behalf of young Dolph's family to make sure Trey and Ari and Mia and all of them and his artists and his family and his mama and daddy can get justice in totality. They don't even know why they doing it. But God says it is I that can change the heart and turn the heart of the king. Okay, because he is in control of everything. I wouldn't care what kind of voodoo, witchcraft, whoever, people that consult with the dead, they can't override the will of God. And see, that's why I always tell people stay prayed up. Because when you stand prayed up and you keep a scripture on the inside of you, that's what you use to battle forces that you don't even know that is coming up against you. So when people standing down there consulting with the dead, or they're going to see people thinking that they conjuring up spells to try to keep them out of jail and to try to remove anything that is going to work to make sure that there is justice, when you keep those scriptures around you and those prayers on the inside of you, you always got a song in your head and you don't even know why. Okay, that battles whatever it is, those forces that you don't even know about, right? And what they do is they bounce off of you and they return right back to the sender. And that's the reason why a lot of these people having a hard time right now, and they don't even know what the spells they speaking out is reversing and hitting them right back in their forehead, because the very people that they speaking it out against is already protected. Okay. But yeah, it seems like, taking him out set off the crime rate even worse. It was already bad, but it set it off even worse. Right? And instead of these people who did this bowing out, because whatever they thought that they was going to control, in the end, it ain't going to even happen. And a lot of these folks that knew that it happened and knew it was going to happen and really wanted it to happen because they thought that they was going to be able to control, okay, something as far as an area in music independence and things like that, they'll be defunct in 2-3 years, because a lot of them going to be in jail. Because God says, when I get them back, you're going to see me get them back. And even if they weren't directly a part of what happened to young Dolph and they knew about it, they'll be in jail for something else, money laundering or drugs or something like that. Okay? Because evil can never win, right? But I just wanted to get on here and talk about that. Y'all know how I am. That's the reason why I always say pray for Memphis, pray for Memphis. I definitely do have a love for Memphis and the citizens. I don't like what's going on. And so people might say, well, if you got love for them, why you want them to go to jail? F you. They got to take their asses to jail with all the shit they doing. They got to go. Okay. We supposed to live in a lawless society? No. Okay. These niggas got to ride so that the law-abiding citizens can enjoy their stuff in peace. Okay? It's got to happen. There has to be some repercussions. Okay? Start raising fathers, since you're so against people going to jail. a lot of these men, why don't you start raising your damn sons and validating them? Instead of talking about their mamas and bragging about having all kinds of kids, you ain't doing a damn thing for them. But then you talk about you a baller, you pitiful, you pathetic. That's what you is. Why don't you help your son instead of bragging about your son being the damn gang leader, you old fool? You ain't worth a damn. You the reason your son like that. You a failure. Why don't you get back in your son life? Oh, but you mad at mama. His mama wasn't no good. If his mama wasn't feeding him, nigga, he wouldn't eat. Because you don't give a damn about your son. And we supposed to talk about you a king. You ain't no king. You a peasant. You good for nothing. You want to talk about the only person that's working 2 jobs to take care of your son to make sure he eat, because you don't know if he eat, don't care if he eat. How about you validate your son? Well, I had a hard life with him. You need to get yourself together. Pull your shit up off your bootstraps. I get sick of these damn weak ass men always talking about, well, you know, this is what I went through. Well, nigga, get your ass some help. Stop dogging out these women, and then when she get tired of you, okay? She wasn't strong. Can't even talk. She wasn't strong. She ain't no strong. SK Black woman size. She couldn't even take me stomping her out. Want to abuse the women and wonder why your luck bad. The blessing, your fuck nigga. These men feel like they're supposed to come up off of a woman. That's the reason why they can't prosper. That's not how it's supposed to be. And these women gonna have to get a backbone. They want to go at all other women because they jealous of them. Ain't no woman supposed to be providing for no damn man. A man is a provider and a protector. He's supposed to be providing and taking care and protecting his women. If he doing anything otherwise, he ain't worthy. Okay? But then you take somebody out like young Dolph and want to go at his woman because they say he left upward of 100 mil. That's what a real man do. That man said, if something happened to me, my kids go always know I was their daddy. Even in death, that man taking care of his kids. And you got a bunch of living fools walking around that's able-bodied, won't do nothing for their kids and want to dog women, going from house to house like a rolling stone, talking about, I'm gonna come up off of a bitch. That's how they said, a bunch of damn fools. I hate a damn man like that. That's the reason why I turned my nose up at them, nigga. Ought to be trying to teach their sons how to be kings. I ain't gonna put no crown on no clown. No, I'm gonna look at you like you a damn fool, because that's what you is to me. Then get jealous of somebody else because this boy said he was a crack baby, came up, ain't had nothing. He popped this collar and these niggas take him out. Now they using everybody's kids and got him in an uproar because that demonic force has been released into the atmosphere. And they want all this confusion in the atmosphere. You know why? Because they know their time up. God using the very people that they thought that they can trust. Because he says, when I get them back, you're going to see me get them back. Okay? When he says, I turn the heart of the king and make him bless you, a lot of folks going to the police telling them the whole play, and they don't even know why they're doing it. People they thought they could trust. Okay? Because when God is in the building, that's what happens. Okay? But anyways, I'm going to get off here. Okay? Because I'm going to have to, I got to go out on a case. All right? And I need to go ahead and eat. Put me a pot pie in the oven before I get out here. Okay? I got to, yeah. But anyways, I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. Okay? If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash Out. Rest in peace to Young Dolph. And I want to thank, on behalf of all of the people in Memphis that really want him to get justice, I want to thank those vloggers / reporters that tell the truth, that really do want justice for him. Ain't trying to get no views by embellishing or tell lies for no cash apps. Those that truly want justice. And believe it or not, there are a few that really do. Okay. But anyways, you guys, I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App. Have fun with your family today. Pray. If you can, go to church. I wanted to go to church, but I got to go out on a case. I love you guys. Okay. I'll talk with you later.